The courtroom was silent as Liam took his seat beside his lawyer, a calm yet resolute expression on his face. The stakes were high, not just for him, but for second chances and the thousands of lives the organization now touched. Reclaiming his inheritance was no longer about wealth or privilege. It was about ensuring a future for the community he had grown to cherish. On the opposing side sat the legal representatives of the Carter Foundation, the entity that had assumed control of Richard Carter's estate. They were polished and confident, ready to argue that Liam's claim was nothing more than a desperate attempt to recapture a life of luxury. Liam knew this battle would be grueling, but his motivations were clear. This wasn't about him anymore. The estate managers wasted no time painting a picture of Liam's past. They highlighted his years of excess and irresponsibility, portraying him as unfit to handle the vast resources of his father's estate. Mr. Carter squandered the privileges given to him, the lead attorney argued. He failed to meet the conditions of the will during the specified time frame, and is now attempting to manipulate a clause for personal gain. Liam listened silently, his jaw tightening. Every word felt like a dagger, a harsh reminder of the person he used to be. Liam's lawyer, Emma Grant, was sharp and tenacious. She had spent weeks meticulously preparing their argument, gathering evidence of Liam's transformation and the impact of second chances. This is not about reclaiming a life of luxury, Emma began during her opening statement. This is about using resources for the greater good, just as Richard Carter intended. Liam Carter has demonstrated through his actions that he is a man of integrity, driven by a desire to make a meaningful impact. The heart of their case rested on testimonies from people whose lives had been changed by second chances. Emma called on Rosa, Caleb, and Lexi to testify about Liam's dedication and the struggles they had faced together. Liam doesn't think about himself, Rosa said, her voice steady. He thinks about the single mother who can't pay rent, the young man trying to escape gang life, the woman rebuilding after addiction. That's who he fights for every day. Caleb added, he's not perfect, and he'll be the first to admit that. But he's real, and he cares. This inheritance wouldn't go to him. It would go to the people who need it most. Outside the courtroom, a wave of support grew. Community members, former beneficiaries, and volunteers organized peaceful rallies and social media campaigns under the hashtag Second Chances Matter. The campaign gained traction, drawing attention from local and national media. One afternoon, as Liam was leaving court, a young boy ran up to him, clutching a handmade sign that read, "Thank you, Liam." His mother stood nearby, tears in her eyes. "You helped us when no one else would," she said softly. "Don't give up." Moments like this reminded Liam why he was fighting. Despite the public support, Liam couldn't escape moments of doubt. One night, he sat in his small apartment, staring at a picture of his father. "Would you approve of what I'm doing?" he murmured. "Or would you still think I'm unworthy?" He thought about the man he used to be, the arrogance, the carelessness, the wasted opportunities. But he also thought about how far he'd come, the lessons he had learned, and the lives he had touched. This wasn't about proving himself to his father anymore. It was about proving to himself that he could be the man he was always meant to be. Halfway through the trial, a surprise witness was called to the stand. Margaret Alden, Richard's old friend and an influential figure in her own right. "I knew Richard Carter well," Margaret said, her voice steady and authoritative. "He was a man of principle, but he also believed in redemption. He would not have wanted his son's mistakes to define his entire life. I've seen the work Liam has done, and I believe it aligns with Richard's vision for the world." Her testimony carried significant weight, bolstering Liam's case. The estate managers, however, were relentless. They argued that Liam's efforts were commendable, but insufficient to justify overturning the original terms of the will. "This is about honoring Richard Carter's wishes," their attorney insisted. And those wishes were clear. Liam had his chance and failed to meet the conditions. Emma countered, "The clause in question allows for reconsideration based on demonstrated contribution to society. The very existence of second chances is proof of Liam's transformation. To deny this would be to ignore the spirit of the will." The case's most emotional moment came when Jessica, the family acquaintance who had been one of Second Chance's earliest supporters, took the stand. "I knew Liam when he was at his lowest," she said. "He could have stayed there, wallowing in self-pity. Instead, he chose to rise. He didn't just rebuild his life, he built something that has touched countless others. That's the kind of legacy Richard Carter wanted." Her words brought a hush over the courtroom. Even Liam felt a lump in his throat as he listened. After weeks of arguments, testimonies, and deliberations, the court finally reached a decision. The judge, an older man with a reputation for fairness, delivered the verdict with measured gravitas. Liam Carter has demonstrated a profound commitment to serving his community and has fulfilled the criteria outlined in the clause. The court rules in favor of Mr. Carter, with the condition that the inheritance be used explicitly for the purposes of second chances and related charitable endeavors. Liam let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Relief and gratitude washed over him as Rosa and Caleb hugged him tightly. Reclaiming the inheritance didn't feel like a victory for Liam. It felt like a responsibility. He immediately set to work with his team, ensuring every dollar was allocated to expanding Second Chance's reach and impact. The organization launched new programs, including job training, mental health services, and affordable housing initiatives. They opened satellite offices in neighboring cities, reaching more people than ever before. Liam also made a personal commitment to remain grounded and connected to the community. He continued working alongside his team, never losing sight of the mission that had brought him here. One day, while sorting through old papers, Liam found a letter addressed to him in his father's handwriting. It was dated shortly before Richard's death. Liam, if you're reading this, it means you found your way. I always believed you would, even when you didn't believe in yourself. Remember, wealth is a tool, not a treasure. Use it wisely, and you'll build something far greater than any fortune. Dad. Tears filled Liam's eyes as he folded the letter. For the first time, he felt at peace with his father's memory. As Liam stood in the bustling headquarters of the now thriving organization, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. His journey had been long and arduous, but it had shaped him into a man of purpose and integrity. The inheritance was no longer a symbol of privilege. It was a means to create change, to offer hope, and to honor a legacy that was now truly his. And in that moment, Liam realized he hadn't just regained his inheritance, he had found himself.